thanks for joining today on this interview. Jaime, I know that we've worked before. I was a customer at Wild Audience. For those of you joining, Jaime is a pretty cool marketer, I would say. I was a customer where he was the company he was at before. I purchased even like courses from them, and I thought their marketing was pretty cool, I think. So welcome to this, discussion more than an interview. I always tell people that it's good to have a discussion back and forth. And for those of you joining live, make sure that you ask questions as well on the comments. We'll be checking them with Jaime, and I'm sure I'll be responding, or he can respond later as well. So why don't we go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself. I know I've been following Wild Audience. You're not there anymore, and you switched. And I was researching. And I was like, man, you did business law. Like, how'd you end up in like marketing? Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and how you got started? Because I think a lot of our community members are people like yourself. Like myself as well, where we went to school, like study something, and all of a sudden switched into marketing, and that led into other things, and you having your agency or your consulting service now. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself?
Sure. So first of all, thanks for the catch up, Diego. Amazing to be in contact again since quite a couple of years, I think.
Yeah.
So as you said, right, like my story has been not a traditional like marketer career, if you want to put it like that. Yeah. I'm actually like a retired lawyer, if you want to put it like this. I did law school, and I went all the way. Like I did everything you can do, like the degree, the masters, and so on. Yeah. It was kind of a wrong decision, like a pressure decision, I would say, like a family kind of thing. But then in the middle, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have the paper and then just like do my own path. You know what I mean? So that's what I did. I finished law school. I worked for 1 year as a lawyer, and then one day I was sitting there all tied up in my suit. I hated it. I was like, never ever again. So actually my first marketing position was as a political consultant, even before getting into more technical marketing. So I just pitched these guys. He's actually, at the time I worked with him, was the biggest marketing political consultant in the world, Spanish speaking. He worked with Obama, 2008. He put presidents all around South America. It was huge. It's called Jordi Segarra. You can Google him, and his company is El Equipo de Campaña. So I wanted to make a shift, and of course, like from law to like a marketing agency, it might be like a very big shift. So I said, what's a middle point? And then I found these guys, and I was like, that's cool. So I pitched him. And he said, all right, come to Mexico. I flew to Mexico, and I started, right? And that's where I learned about like strategic communication. Like these guys were running presidential campaigns, right? That's the most marketing thing you can ever do, probably. Yeah. Like, like surveys, and then prepare the, kind of the offer, what the president's going to offer for winning the election, then the communication on the meetings, like all that part that was involved. And then like I was there for 6 months, and I was like, all right, I love like the marketing part, but I hated the product. I was like, I just hated the product. So that was the second realization, right? I was like, all right, I know what I want. I want marketing. I want like tech. I love tech, but I don't want to be involved in this thing. You know what I mean? I want to help like other entrepreneurs and like be fun, have fun while doing that. And that's when I found Wild Audience. And then I joined that company early stage. And I stayed there for 2.5 years. Then of course I got way more handy, I would say. Like, let's say I came with the strategical part. I didn't have like too much of a technical part. Then I just sharpened my technical things. But yeah, going back to your question, like since the beginning, I knew I wanted to work for myself. I didn't want to work with anyone else or for anyone else. I had that clear since day one. So it was just like a path, you know, of learning until you are kind of like, all right, I'm ready to make that decision, right? And that's when Moonroy came, just less than a year ago, actually. I founded Moonroy 2 weeks before coronavirus. So I was just like, all right, this is my moment. I'm just gonna like kill it. And I went so out, 2 weeks in business, boom, Corona appeared. And had brought me so many lessons and has strengthened my brand and like kind of the company so much, the agency and the consulting services so much, that I'm very happy actually that happened, right? Because now it's like I started when everyone was like pretty much like fucked, like having problems and like managing, starting from scratch.
Like emergency mode of like, all right, like we have to do digital marketing is key, and yeah.
Exactly, and luckily enough, I was on the right boat, so I decided to work with e-com and info products only. And then that's when things start shifting, right? Because I mean, we can see already, and it's not ending now. It's just the beginning of a huge wave of e-commerce, especially that it's just you know, it just accelerated the growth for e-commerce. And here I am.
Awesome. And I think you mentioned a couple of things, because I think that's interesting that you said, all right, I'm in law school. I hate this. It happened to me too. You know, I was wearing a suit and like a tie, and like it comes to a point where you're like, man, this is miserable. Like this sucks. How did you end up in Mexico? Because I think it requires some guts, like cojones, you know, to like say like, all right, I'm gonna call this guy, hop on a plane and go work in Mexico. How did you make that jump? Because I think that's an interesting, like, probably cool story as well of it's a big change, right? Like you're doing law, and all of a sudden you're like, all right, I want to do something different. How did you come up with like calling the guy and going to Mexico? How did that go?
Yeah, I mean, the story is surreal. It was like House of Cards move, literally. I was in this period where nothing was certain. Like my only goal was change from law, like shift from law, and get a little bit more into like marketing tech or find something different. In any country, I was open to go like to North Korea, whatever, you know. I was like, I want to learn. I'm working to learn. I know I wasn't going to get rich with it. It was my early like shift, so I was looking for experience, you know. So I started contacting my network, and like kind of like old friends or friends of my family or whatever. And I literally, at that point, I was like desperate. I was like writing emails. You know, anyone that like is looking for my profile and so on. You know, just like making calls, emailing like crazy. And one guy responded me. He just said like, I want you to meet someone. And I was like, okay, awesome. And I want you to meet someone. And then he asked me, are you coming to Ecuador for Christmas? Because I'm originally from Ecuador. I go to Ecuador like every single Christmas. So he was like, are you going to be? I was like, yeah, I'm going to be. I was like, okay, call me when you're here. So I arrived to Ecuador. I called this guy. I'm like, okay, I'm here. And he was like, do you know this guy? And I was like, not really. He was like, okay, so he's here for one more day. He was consulting the elections for Ecuador that put the current president. So he won the election. He was the winning consultant. And he was like, this guy's going to be here like 24 more hours. You need to fly to the capital and meet him tomorrow in a hotel. Like, that's your only shot. And I was like, wow, this looks like literally a movie. So I literally went to the airport, bought a ticket, and went to the capital, which is like 2-hour flight. And I'm never going to forget. I was like waiting in this hotel, like super fancy hotel, like waiting in the bar. Like I didn't even know like what's going to happen. Like, fair enough. At that point, I made like huge research on the guy, his team. What is like massive research, right? Because I knew this guy was like the type of guy that like literally have like 15 minutes, yes or no, you know. And so he comes. He's like, So like we were talking like a little bit. I was like, look, I'm gonna be straightforward with you. I know like in your team you have lawyers already. I know like, this is my profile. This guy is from Spain as well. And I studied quite in a good university here. So he was like, all right, like everything makes sense. And he was like, okay, come to Mexico. How much do you need for living? And I just like told him like an amount. He was like, all right, you need to be in a month in Mexico. And I was like, deal.
Wow.
That's it.
And so a month later, you hop on the plane, you go to Mexico City, I would imagine, and then you work there for 6 months. Were you doing anything like, I'm sure you've seen like Cambridge Analytica scandal, like, were you doing any cool stuff with like data and digital marketing then? Or it was more like branding and like
no, it was
positioning of like
they had and they become the biggest like political consultant Spanish speaking company in the world because of the data. They have a special department called El Pentágono. They call that area, and it's like super like advanced stuff. And they map, they use Tableau, very advanced Tableau with Google Maps. So let's say you want to be president of Honduras, so to say, right? And I come to you, Diego, and let's say you're from the blue party, and there's the blue and the red. They come to you with the Tableau, right? And then they just put you in Google Maps, and they, by colors, they say in the past 10 years, by area, this is the historical election pattern they have followed. And this is where you're losing votes, this is where you're gaining votes, this is where you need message needs to go, like in Google Maps, in a screen.
Wow.
Like, and data from previous surveys, like physical surveys, you know, like people like door to door, which is very common in South America. And also they cross this data with online thing, populates, boom. So that's when I was like, wow, that was the differentiator for them, for sure. Like when you come to a client, especially in South America where technology is not so advanced, and with an iPad, you're able to show them like the historical of 10 years by neighborhood, they're just sold.
You're sold. Yeah, it's an easy sell.
Yeah.
That's cool. So that's so cool. And then what made you say, I'm not in love with this product? Because I'm sure politics can be difficult. What made you do the switch and go back to Spain and say like, all right, I'm gonna go into wild audience? Because I'm sure, I guess when you joined, they were just starting, right?
Yeah, I think it was like maybe 6 months, maybe like a year from scratch. Yeah, I think when I started, like we called it the Wild Audience 2.0, like when it like kind of like got started, so to say. What made me change was like just environment, you know, like, you know, in general, you know how politics are, like Mexico, you can't imagine. And it was just like, I always say, like, I felt like a dolphin in a pool with sharks, you know. I was like, all right, this is cool, but like,
someone's gonna eat me today.
I couldn't trust anyone, you know. And like, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. Like politics, it's a lifestyle. You gotta be. It's the same as law, right? And I knew I was going there for like certain period of time. It wasn't like my ultimate goal to become like a political consultant, not at all. But it was like stepping away from, you know.
And then how did you find Wild Audience? Like, how did you end up in Wild Audience afterwards? Being there is so small and yeah.
So I was like, I was doing research, and at that time I already met like Bastian, like before he even like founded Wild Audience, the founder of Wild Audience. And so he eventually went to Silicon Valley, I think, and I went to my thing to Mexico. And then I started seeing like his progression while I was in political consultant. And I was like, this sounds exactly like a cool product that I would like to be involved with.
Yeah.
Or like cool marketing, you know, like I was doing marketing, but like the type of marketing we were doing wasn't like, I mean, it was great, but again, the product was not great. And I could see the potential on that product in Wild Audience. So yeah, that's how like things went together.
And then you mentioned something important, because you said like, I was doing more strategic more than tactical. And I think that's key for people who are starting a career in digital marketing. Where do you think, what's more important, strategy or tactics, and where to start? Because I think it's an interesting point that you mentioned of like, I was doing more strategic stuff but not technical. And I've seen that a lot as well with people being like, you know, I'm a planner and I'm planning all these stuff, but I never run ads, or I never implement campaigns, or even like a landing page, or like active campaign, you know, and run emails. And I've never like actually sat down and like use Zapier to like run an integration. Like, what's more important, like strategy or tactics, or where would you start, I guess?
It's like what's first, the chicken or the egg, right? type of question. I mean, here's the thing, like they're both like extremely important. I don't want to say one's more important than the other, not at all, but I think it depends also what you want to achieve. But in my experience, you need to have technical skills if you want to go anywhere, you know, like you need to have the technical skills. And let's say you start with technical skills and you have zero strategic thinking. Just by making errors technically wise, you will build your own strategy on the way. You know, let's say you are like wrongly connected, like, I don't know, like Zapier with Stripe, and you're making so much complex. Just by looking at what you're doing and creating and making mistakes there, you're going to learn the strategy. You're going to learn like how to optimize that, and how to like build together like a kind of like a lean system. On the other hand, so that's why I'm very like skill focused more than like strategical and thinking and doing that. So I think it's better like executed than perfectly planned. So, and that's what like strategic people tend to do. It's, you know, they do these massive roadmaps and like massive plans and so on. And then when they go into implementation, they realize like it was totally opposite what the market needs, or they just like spend so much time there and haven't like even got started. So my suggestion, get as technical as possible. Just get your hands into that dashboard, get your hands into Zapier, active campaign, whatever is the one you want to use. And just by doing that, you're going to acquire strategic skills.
Yeah, I love that executed is better than a perfect plan. I think that's spot on, because I think I made this mistake too of like planning and thinking this like crazy thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
And then you launch it and you're like, crap, like this didn't work, or this didn't work. And I should have just simplified it and launched it and see what people say, and saved so much time and effort and money and planning all these things, and, you know, wasted 3 months of planning when I should have done this.
Yeah, and I think for you guys, sorry to interrupt, but just like one hint for you guys starting, or if you want to start your consulting agency, whatever it is you want, like a typical mistake I constantly see with people I work with is like they build this like massive like website, and like they're looking at like the logo and the values and the this and that and proposition and whatnot. And like I have seen so many people scale to 6 and 7 figures without a website offering like digital services. Let's just take an example of Sam Ovens, consulting.com. Like a year ago, he had like a shitty website. Like you can only do one thing, which was one click, you know, and then just go one step closer to the buying decision. So I think first of all, like less is more of the times, like most of the times by doing less, you can achieve more. And that's maybe like a mindset you want to implement. It's minimum input, maximum output. Don't try to create this massive thing and then go out to the market. First, go out to the market, go fish your client, and then learn from that and implement your own stuff. That's just like a common mistake I constantly see. And I know it's a pain point for a lot of people. They're like, I don't know where to start, my branding, my website, my identity. It doesn't matter. You know, like the client, he's not hiring because of your brand. He's hiring because of your results most of the time. So if you can get them the results, forget about the rest.
And then when you talk about tools, like besides Facebook ads, because I think a lot of people like focus on Facebook ads, but I think that you need to have a wider range of abilities in terms of tools. Like what are other tools that people should know how to use? Like, and I can think of like Zapier, for example. Like Zapier is something that everyone should know how to use, because you're gonna need it at some point. Like from what you've seen, like what are other tools that besides running Facebook ads? Because I think that's obviously like a must, I think, but what are other things that people should know technically, at least like understand how to use it and get that technical experience?
Yeah, I think it really depends on the tool setup you want to implement. So it's not like Zapier, let's say, is the one connector, but email marketing, you know, you need to automate your emails at one point, you know. Also, like, not being a web developer, but understand how to create a landing page and so on. It's so important if you're getting started. I use Elementor. I love Elementor. It's a WordPress plugin. It's one-time payment. Well, we can have a huge discussion, but I'm not going to enter there. But I think you want to have at least like your traffic sorted out, which means like Facebook ads, Facebook, Google, and YouTube, and then LinkedIn. Not too many people is paying attention to LinkedIn, but I have spent the whole year masterizing LinkedIn, and I can tell you there's huge potential there. So you need to sort out your traffic. You need to sort out your funnel part, which means website and automated emails. And then the payment. And then the payment part, which is the end point of the funnel, so to say, right? Which is you need to know how to use a Stripe and just like look your money like a hawk and know exactly where's each cent going.
No, I think that's key. A lot of times we forget about the money side, and it's all like ads, and landing page. And it's like, well, yeah, but you also have cost, and you need to know your margins, and you need to know like whether you're a profitable business, like whether it's like makes sense to keep growing. You mentioned LinkedIn, and I think that's interesting. Are you using it more for reaching clients or building your profile? Like, how are you using LinkedIn where you think it's like important to use it, or is it more for the clients that you're managing?
Both. So as you know, probably we offer like agency services for info products and e-commerce, meaning done for you. And every now and then I bring like a reduced amount of people and I consult them, and we just look really where is their ideal client spending their time, right? Because let's be honest, like for like a high ticket consulting guy, his client is in LinkedIn. Like his ideal customer spends the time on LinkedIn, not on Facebook, that person doesn't even has Instagram probably, or like he's not spending time there. He goes for fun, but he's doing business on LinkedIn, right? And that's how I got started, like on LinkedIn side. And I use it for consulting clients and also acquiring clients. Has been my main acquisition channel this year, actually.
And LinkedIn. Are you using ads or just contact, like paying the $79 a month
Sales Navigator is, it offers you a huge range of data. And if you want to go further, you can automate that. If you know how, I wouldn't recommend automating it until you really understand, because you can like get it a wrong approach or like a wrong, not a benefit, but like it can affect your branding if you not do it really good, I think. So, but I think anyways, if you want to connect with B2B businesses, you have access to direct decision makers there. So you're just like hopping up the line 10 rows and just going and speaking with the decision maker. And
I'm going to ask you, because I think this is interesting, like, are you using any plugins? What plugins are you using to automate? Because I've seen I think it's like BAMF. What's the guy from, like, is it BAMF Media? And like Lemon Pod, and I've seen other tools that people use to like market. What plugins are you using in LinkedIn to automate that outreach? Or I guess like let me take a 2 steps back. For someone who's starting an agency and is wanting to look for clients, what are the best tips you would recommend how to use LinkedIn, like without automating, right? Like, how do you, without getting to that point where you're like, all right, I can automate a lot of the outreach and email, like direct messages. What are some tips people should know when using LinkedIn and trying to get new clients or potential clients?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first you need to understand the environment. Like before doing anything, you need to understand, like, let's say like Facebook and Instagram is the club and LinkedIn is the office. So your message is different. You know, you're not going to be bragging with your Lambo around and like going and pitching people like that. Like it's a different game, you know, and like Gary Vee always says that thing, like you need to understand the platform so that you can start like playing on the platform itself. Right. So first, like understand that where are you playing, because that's going to craft your message, your approach, and everything from there, right? So understand here is not like, because I mean, let's be honest, like I'm sure both of us, we get like thousands of messages every day. Hey, like you get a LinkedIn connection, and I'm just like laughing every time I see this, like LinkedIn connection. And then there's a huge paragraph like this, right? It's like, we're the best in the industry offering blah, blah, blah. They put you like 10 links there. You're like, man, this is automated. Like you're just like flagging yourself like as an automation or just as a seller, right? So I would say like keep it friendly, never start selling, but connect, build a relationship like slowly, keep a conversation, and then bring them out from LinkedIn, like a call or email, or I normally like invite them to jump on a call, invite people to jump on a call, like kind of a consulting call of the business. But that's what I would do. Like first understand the environment. First message should always be a friendly connection, and never do the selling on LinkedIn, but like start to get the pain points and slowly bring them outside the platform to a call. Then the second thing is segmentation, right? So go to YouTube. There's like thousands of videos. I personally learned a lot from this girl, Natasha Villaseca. She has like a course as well, LinkedIn Unleashed, YouTube videos. There are other people in the market doing like a lot of explanation on that. To be honest, it's way simpler than Facebook ads, like way simpler. So if you understand the messaging and the segmentation or the search, like sky's the limit, right? And I will start probably without the Sales Navigator. First, start playing with the normal search, connect with a couple of people, like have your sequence, let's say in a Google Doc, and like craft a message, like connection message, keep it short. And once you feel like, okay, this is going, jump into the Sales Navigator.
And then do you, when you talk about messaging, do you actually send them direct messages, or do you start interacting with their content first and then you jump on like and then you send them a message? Like, how do you combine that so that, because I've gotten like messages like you mentioned, and I'm like, I have no idea who you are. Like, this is great, but like, we're gonna take the time and answer your question. Like, because you sent me a message on LinkedIn. Like, how do you balance that, you know? And do you just go straight to like sending messages, or do you actually start interacting with people and then go into like a message?
I mean, the right way to do it, so to say, it's like you start engaging with the content, commenting, like your face pops up in the profile, and then eventually you end up connecting, right? To be honest, like this year has been like a bull run year for me, because I mean, I just like build something in the middle of pandemic and then just like scale it. And to be honest, at the moment, I have come to a point where I'm not even doing outreach because like referrals and so on just book the agency. But at the beginning, I remember my strategy was I only look for second and third connections in common. So I would send like a very simple message. We say, hey, I got a LinkedIn recommendation since we have both friends in common. I thought it would be nice to connect. That's it, you know, and smiley. Like, I'm not sending you a link. I'm not sending you an offer. I'm not sending you like, hey, I want to like help you with your info product and sell blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying, I'm friends with your friends. Let's be friends, right? That's it. And that like my connection rate is around 60%, which is quite high for a first message. So you can understand that, right? And if you want to do it way better, of course, you start like engaging with the content and doing that. Also, LinkedIn gives you, I'm not sure if it's the free version, but the paid version, you can see from your list, like who has recent posts, right? And you can just click there and go directly to the post and just like engage there. And so forth. So definitely engagement plus connection, it's a good combination.
Awesome. I love this. I think it's a good way to grow. I think I don't know where we're talking about it too, and doing the same thing with like Instagram, you know, like you can go into Instagram, find businesses that you know they're not doing good marketing, and start interacting with them, buy their products, and then send them a message and be like, hey, I bought your product. Like, these are opportunities where you can improve, and this is how I can help you. And it's a good way to like introduce yourselves and build clients. How did you get your first clients through LinkedIn? Because I think we all have that, you know, we all talk about the imposter syndrome and how like, you know, I've never had clients before and I've never done this before. And and I don't know if I can do it, and how should I approach it, and how do I build credibility? How did you tackle that when you first started, or how did you land that first client of yours?
Yeah, that's also like a typical question, and it's a great one because a lot of people, I mean, we all have been in that situation, I guess, right? Yeah, eventually you're gonna be there. So I was like, I mean, I had it quite clear. I wanted to get to this point this year where I can sit in a position where I say I only take e-commerce or info products. But in the beginning, you're kind of like fishing whatever it comes. Like you want to gain experience and you want to get like clients in your belt. You know, you want to put the belt and say like, I gained so much experience with this client. Like next one's going to be better. And like slowly you're going to get better clients. Like that's naturally what's going to happen. So in my case, for example, like my experience, I started with local businesses because it was the easiest to offer marketing, right? And I knew at that point, I'm going to do local businesses for a couple of months. Then local businesses, they're going to go down and I'm going to shift to online businesses. And then from online businesses, I'm going to focus on e-commerce businesses, right? So it was like from big picture to small picture, right? So first I would try to get easy clients because if not, it's going to be frustrated. And once you get your first client, it's going to give you I mean, you know the feeling when you get that first client and pretty much you will feel unstoppable. Like you get the first one and then you're going to get the second one. And then you're going to say, okay, I don't want these clients anymore. I go to the next layer of clients. Okay, I start paying there. So go to the easiest client in your niche or your industry. And what you can do, and maybe it sounds ridiculous, but it worked for me. Just like take your phone, scroll through your contacts and see who you can help with your services in your phone. Like start from there, like just your phone and just send them a message. And invite them for a call, right? Audit their businesses, look what they're doing, and just like connect with them. And again, you're not going to get rich with that client. That's not your end client. It's just like your momentum client, so to call it.
And then do you think an easy client is also a client with a bad product? Because that's something I've come across as well, where you say like, oh, this could be really easy to get that client, but they had a really bad product. Like even if you get it or I get it or whoever gets it, they're not going to get good results just because the product is terrible. Like what constitutes an easy client? Because I think you have to be careful sometimes with easy clients can turn into nightmares where like either the product's horrible or the person you're dealing with is just terrible to work with and they don't pay. And like what's an easy client, or what are like red flags that you would say like, sure, like you can get this easy, like these are the things you should definitely don't do?
I mean, I think like, the boundary is very thin, I think, in general. And it really depends on the industry and niche you're operating. But I mean, I know probably most of the audience today is focusing on Facebook ads kind of services. So because of Markeko, but you probably know like getting leads for a local business is just like a piece of cake, right? So then just like make a list of local businesses and then see from those like where you can realistically bring them results or something tangible, right? In my case, my first client was like a spa back in Ecuador, and their internal organization was like a mess. I over delivered, like I created them like Google Sheets. I integrated with Zapier so they get the emails. I send them like scripts or what they need to say. Like, and I was charging like, I think like $600, like nothing, you know, like for the amount of work I was doing. But I was like, okay, this is my first client. You know, they even pay me with check. I was like, I only take credit card. They were like, no, we can't. So all these like roadblocks where you say like the people you work with, the payment method, like you're going to find these things for sure. But again, you work for experience and putting one client in your belt. And then for the next client, you can come and you say, by the way, I work with this guy and these are the results we got, right? And if I help them, if I have this spa, it's pretty likely that I can help your spa or your gym or your dentist, right? And if you're doing Facebook, Instagram, I mean, now it's not the best time to do, of course, local businesses, but just look where you realistically can get them results and just jump in the pool.
And then are you pro or against doing free work for a month or two, especially when you have no experience? Because that's a big question I always get is, because people are like, well, you should never do free work. And I'm like, yeah, but if you don't have experience, you might have to do some free work like for at least a month and like show results, and then just make sure that you pre-frame clients that you're not going to do free work forever, right? Like you might do a test pilot project for like a month or so. Are you pro or against that? Or what has been your approach?
Yeah, I did it. Like my mom's family, they have a restaurant, and I was like, before jumping into the market, I was like, okay, I want to understand how Ecuador works, and I was just like, I'm gonna play around. Like, to be honest, like to run ads for a local business with small budget, what takes you like 1 hour a week max?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you're gonna do like massive work, right? So if you feel like you need that start, do it. I wouldn't recommend doing it for more than a month, and make sure that it doesn't take you like huge amount of time. I think 1 to 2 hours per week is fine. And yeah, I'm sure at the beginning you're not going to manage like massive budgets, and you know, it's like pretty much you are getting, let's say someone's giving your budget, so you can play with it and learn. You can see it like that way.
And I like what you're saying too, because I think the other thing is like focus on one thing in the sense of like, don't go in and offer ads, but also content. And because I think this is something I see in Latin America a lot is like business owners are like, oh, you're going to manage my ads? Okay, then I want a picture on my Instagram every day. And you're like, no, that's like, there's two totally different things that I'm not doing you content. Like I'm actually just running ads for you, and you can hire someone else to do content for you, but I'm not doing that. And then the other thing is, do you usually charge a fixed fee, or do you work with variables as well? And what experiences have you had for someone starting? Because that's another big question I always get is it worth getting into the fixed plus like results-based fees, or not even bother and just work with like a fixed fee?
Yeah. I mean, we personally, it depends on the client. I think if you are getting into ROAS deals on top of your fee, you got to know very well what you're doing, because you don't want to put in a position where you make your client lose money, which a lot of these ROAS deals actually makes the client lose money, because let's just frame an example. Let's say like I close with you guys, with your company. Let's say I close like 2K per month fee plus 10% ROAS, right? And let's say that's a standard commission on ROAS. But what if we are ROAS 2 and you are not even profitable, and I'm on top of that taking 10% of that? You know what I mean? So you need to really understand the market you're playing. And at least for me, like I'm very proud to say, like we typically work in a window period of 90 days. And our standard is minimum ROAS of 3. Like if at the end of 90 days, we don't have a ROAS of 3, I either refund you and I work for you 1 month for free. Like that's part of a deal. Like literally we're obliged to get your results. And on top of that, I would only get a ROAS percentage, depends on the profit margins, but from 3 or 4 ROAS on top. So once you're profitable, then I can start getting ROAS on your deal. There are people that are doing the other way, like every day, like I'm to masterminds of agency owners, like people do it one way or the other way, but I don't see it fair. Like my job or my goal is to make my clients just scale aggressively. And if I'm taking out the profits, it's like going against my goal. You know what I mean? So you need to, if you're getting started, yeah, you're going to earn more money with ROAS plus ROAS, but probably it's going to be more difficult to close a client, because typically clients that accept a ROAS deal, they're like, okay, show me results, case studies. They're going to really push you against the wall, like from when to when and what's my profit margin. And you got to know very, very well that math, right? You cannot just jump in the room like, yeah, that's my fee plus ROAS, starting from ROAS like 0. So even if we're like minus, I still take. You know, it doesn't work like that.
No, I like that approach of, and that's pretty impressive that you give the 3 month window of like, all right, we'll give you 3x, like 3 ROAS, or we give you a free month, or we'll refund you. That's aggressive and requires guts as well. And I think it tells that you know what you're doing as well, and you know which clients to pick. And I think that's more important as well. Is you probably have a good feeling now of what are customers where you can actually get results because you know they have a good product, probably a good Shopify store, and already good conversions and good creative and get the results that you need. When it comes to creativity, because I know you being a lawyer and I study finance as well. Like I don't know, I wouldn't say I'm not creative, right? But the whole designer thing doesn't come naturally. Do you hire designers? Do you outsource that? How do you deal with the creative part of your business? Or are you the one running the creative side?
You mean for our clients or for ourselves?
For your client, yeah.
Yeah, that's also like a great question. And again, it's a case by case scenario. Because like, let's say, again, let's take you as an example. You have an info product. Let's say, okay, we're like Moonroy, we're going to start like running traffic for you guys and so on. And like, I always ask, do you have on my onboarding sequence, like we ask for, do you have a creative folder? Like, do you have like a library of images and videos that we could use for ads? And 99% of the cases when we start working with a brand, they already have like very clear design line, very clear colors design wise. And just with the folder they give to us, we just like maybe like tweak a couple of things in Photoshop or Canva, and that's enough for running ads. I have never like had to run a shoot or nothing like that. I live clear behind, we're not doing that. We're not running shoots or nothing like that. But I know the people that can do that. So I can definitely recommend it to someone. But I mean, you run ads like, Diego, let's be honest, like you don't need to have like a 3D ad to perform good. Like most of the times, like an iPhone image with a good copy, good segmentation works, So yeah, I typically first go to the client, enter their library, make a previous selection, and I make a proposition. I say like, in my opinion, these are the best like performing images. And we just let's say we just like run a first round of like 10 ads. And out of the 10, 5 were good. So we just like cut off 5 and we have like the winning ones. That's it. Great.
No, I love all the feedback that you're giving. One last thing, I guess, is how can people get in touch with you? If they want to hire you, contact you or anything, what's the best way to approach you? I would have assumed LinkedIn, but maybe not.
Yeah, so I mean, LinkedIn would be like a direct way to contact me. I spend there quite a lot of time. So if you look Jaime Pazmino on LinkedIn, I will appear. And then if not, just go to moonroy.com. The only thing you can do on our website is to schedule a call with us after like a qualification test. So if you want to work with us, just go there, jump on a call with us, and let's talk. And if you want to connect, just like to have some more network, just connect on LinkedIn.
Awesome. And let me see, I have there's a couple of questions. One is for you to make an offer of 90-day windows with 3x ROAS, what's the least budget that you require customers to have? That's a good question, actually. 1K? And that's enough for you to be able to get the return and also pay back your monthly fee?
Yeah, historically with what we do, because again, like most of the times the clients themselves, they don't know how much to spend, and they will come to me and they were like, what do you recommend? And I say, look, let's put between 7, I mean, it depends on the client, but let's say it's a small client. I'm always saying like, let's put between 700 to 1K the first month. And with the sales that we get the first month, we reinvest on the second and the third. So I scale the budget in a 3-month window period, if that makes sense. So long story short, 1K, it's very easy as well. If you give me 1K, I need to give you back 3. Math is simple.
And that works for all like Europe and Latin America, for example, or have you seen that for Europe or US, you need more money than Latin America? It
depends also. I mean, it depends a lot on the price of the product. Like now I'm working with an amazing client. They sell like an electro saxophone, like the smallest and lightest electro saxophone in the world. It's an amazing product, and it costs 500 euro. So with them, the ROAS is like 30s, 20s. You know, we're never down 20, because like if we put like 1K, like, and we make like 10 sales, we're already like passing that, you know. So it really depends. Again, there's not like a fixed fee where I can say you like go into this, and before jumping into a guarantee, make sure you know your game and make sure you know your numbers. Like you don't want to be, and also don't offer refunds, offer like more work in return, or like start with an easy kind of refund or an easy kind of guarantee.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thanks for taking the time. And I think you gave really good tips on, I think your story, just LinkedIn, talking about, I took some notes here, you know, but less doing more, like just execution is better than a perfect plan. And just the models that you're doing. And again, I applaud you as well for taking the leap and doing your own thing, especially during coronavirus. And I think you did it at the right time, to be honest. I know that coronavirus was a struggle for everyone and has been a struggle for everyone, but I think it's also an opportunity. And I think e-commerce is going to keep growing like crazy. So thanks again for taking the time and doing this interview today. I know we've been getting good comments on the post here. If we'll leave your not your contact info, but I think I'll tag you in the post as well so that people get in touch with you either there, and I'll post your LinkedIn profile on the interview as well. If people want to just connect with you, you might get some, you know, messages now being like, hey, I see that you're connected with a connection. Let's be friends. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a good one, definitely.
But thanks again for taking the time and doing this, Jaime, and good luck with everything. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your week.
Sure, man. Thanks for the invite, and let's keep in touch.
Awesome. Thanks, man. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.